Hello and welcome back once again to the Old Rope Salvage Workshop, where we're nearing the end, the completion of this truck build. As you saw probably in the last video, we got the doors on. That was a really big milestone, and I think in this episode we're going to be putting some of the last bits and pieces on it. Probably the wings, we've got some indicators, bumper sections, all sorts of bits and pieces, but we're very nearly getting to the end of it all, really.
Yeah, I'm back in this episode, really exciting. Make the most of me while I last. It is super cold in here at the moment. I am literally warming my overalls up in the oven. Ooh.
Your glass is steamed up. And let's just get on to some work and get going.
Yeah, get warmed up.
It has taken us 4 years of some seriously hard graft to transform this rusty red wreck into the fully restored Bedford truck you see before you today. We bought this 50-year-old former Firetruck in a moment of post-lockdown lunacy at the end of 2020, with the intention of restoring it and converting it into the rolling home on wheels of our dreams. Well, we are now finally almost done with the restoration.
We deserved a nice, fresh cup of tea.
And this week we will be adding some nice finishing touches,
Let's see what Tim can do with that.
bolting on the last of the big panels and contemplating our list of things still to do before we turn our thoughts to what comes next. So stay tuned folks, because whatever happens, we are now reasonably confident that this old girl will be out turning heads on the road one day very soon now.
Are you there yet?
Yeah,
Where have you gone?
I'm right inside here.
Are you ready for me to poke it through?
I think so. Where's the hole? Oh, there it is. Okay.
How are you doing in there?
Yeah, I'm winding it up. Is it in the right place now? Like up and down, right?
I suppose so.
Okay.
I mean,
Right. That's it. And
does that look alright?
I'm just gonna wire it in now. That's it. It's even wired in.
Notice how once again I match the truck. I mean, none of this is an accident. It's all part of the master plan. You right in there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, cool. They look really good, don't they? Orangey.
Maybe you should get your own indicators.
I was just thinking actually, we said that these were restored, but actually they ended up having to be new ones because the old ones were absolutely no good whatsoever.
Oh, I didn't realise these are actually
These
new.
are brand new, yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
I'd forgotten. Yeah, I'd forgotten. That's gone in a nice. Right, let's nip that up with a spanner. That's the wire.
Good, wow. Second indicator.
It's hard to remember just how long ago it is since we restored the wings, maybe 2 or 3 years, and they've been sitting on the back of our old truck gathering dust ever since, waiting for their moment. Well, today was the day for them to get dusted off, polished up, and bolted back on.
That's the first time I've seen this wing in I don't know how long. I don't know when we painted them and put them up there, covered them up in some plastic, and that looks pretty good. It looks like the day I put it there pretty much. And I've forgotten that I painted the insides brown. Oh, weird. Well, they're black on the outside but brown on the inside. And the, oh yeah, the stone chip. Oh wow, they look pretty good.
There was also the matter of getting the wing supports bolted back into place, fully restored down to the last nut and bolt like everything else around here. And Tim also made sure to sand and polish the wings, the method of which we've covered in a previous video, and I'll link that up there for you. Because, you know, shiny.
First wing has been cut, sanded down and then polished. The black always looked pretty good when we first painted it, but they've been sitting there for quite a long time, and I really wanted to see how well it came up after polishing it, because all these paints react slightly differently, but I'm impressed. There's something really nice about polishing black paint. It's just so shiny. Now I'm going to have to do the other one, and I'm going to have to do the big bits as well, but it's worth it, it really is. Shiny as anything.
So if you just hold that in. Oh no, my nuts! Right, to get it held in, then we can put all the other ones in and tighten it up. Oh, that's in. Okay, I think you can let go. Oh, just too easy, isn't it? Let's give that a gentle. Yeah.
Too easy? Too easy? Will anything ever be too easy? I think not. Of course, everything is relative, but after 4 years you'll have to forgive me if I'm feeling just a little bit weary.
Can I let go?
I'm not sure. I might put another one up there, right in there. It's not too bad. I think that'll come up pretty good. I think it's going to take some tweaking, definitely, but all the underneath is all brown. The wings are black. All the underneath is brown. We're going to definitely have a bit of alignments going on here, and it might need a bit of bead in there because that is not straight. Anyway, let's have a look. Okay, yeah, and that gets pulled up into that one. So yeah, they're gonna get pulled around a little bit at some point, but I guess that's the general gist of it.
Oh, are you carrying it on your own?
I've spent many an hour carrying these around. Right, so. There it goes.
This one.
Down there. Oh, easy. That was just too easy.
I put my fancy gloves on thinking I was going to be picking heavy
Oh,
stuff.
right. We've got a lot of nuts and bolts to go in there.
Yeah, but I can't feel them with the gloves on. That was just for picking
Oh,
stuff up.
They were literally bumper carrying gloves.
They were literally bumper carrying gloves, yes. Mostly because the bumpers are really, really cold.
Yeah, yeah. Hold the bumper up just there. Okay, and I'll start feeding in some bolts.
Oh, now I need my gloves because the bumper's really cold. I'm joking.
Okay.
That was so high maintenance.
Oh, I got another remember something else as well. Bolts going from that side and they're going from there, and you can't put the nuts on. You have to go in the right order.
Oh, okay.
I've got a funny feeling These were a real nightmare when I took it apart. They were so hard.
I genuinely can't remember that far back. Was the bumper one of the first things we took off? Probably was, wasn't it?
It was quite early on, yeah.
I need to squeeze.
It's unbolted. Don't let it drop on your feet.
Just wanted to get that out of the way before we take the bumper off.
Bless you.
Right. This is where the hammers come in. Woohoo!
There you go.
General weariness aside, it is kind of satisfying to look back at where it all began and say to ourselves, we did this. We've learned so much along the way, not just new skills, although there are a lot of them, but about ourselves, about each other, about patience, perseverance, and digging deep when you feel you've got nothing left in the tank. Would we do it again? Probably not. Any regrets? Of course. Was it worth it? We think so. So they go in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit sad because then you don't see the lights as much, do
I know,
you?
yeah.
Well, it's kind of cool, but it's a shame that it sort of covers up
Yeah.
the headlight a little bit. It's like,
She just dropped them in.
oh, okay. I don't want to get in the way because I want them to be able to see. Can you see? What do you think?
It's the way that they look, you know.
Yeah, I know.
It's sort of, you change this, you change it. It doesn't look like one of these anymore.
No, it looks cool actually. Yeah, it doesn't obscure. If it was a different colour, like if all the bumper was white or something, it would be really distracting. Whereas it actually just kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it.
I don't know what it looked like in the sunshine, but this just sat in black kind of.
Well, that's nice.
It doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, you know, obviously these are gloss, that's satin. This is powder coated satin black.
Yeah.
And the centre bit is powder coated as well.
Well, I like it. Well, we do have a number plate as well. I was just asking Tim, like, why does this number plate look so rubbish? I'm like, I'm demanding answers, and it's because we haven't done anything to it, but that's because we're getting another one apparently. So, yeah.
Well, you can get black paint out and just paint it in.
No, I'll get a new one.
Are you ready, dear? Oh, we must be sure. There's no turning back once we're out the door. Leave your message here.
There are still a number of boring things left to do before we can drive this Bedford out of here, and we'll talk about those later in this video. But getting the cab and all the cool stuff rebuilt is really where it's at for us right now, as we've waited so long to find out what the sum of all those restored parts looked like back together. We're pretty satisfied with how she's shaping up. What do you think? We know that our colour scheme might not be to everyone's fancy, but we love it.
Right, well, it's a whole new week in the workshop now. I left Tim alone for a few days to get on with some stuff. I'm not quite sure what he's been doing. I think he made an attempt to put the windscreen in at one point using a different kind of method to the string method we used for the rear window. But it didn't quite work, so he's taken it out again and we're going to re-attempt that probably. Well, it'll probably be in the next video now, but don't worry, we're all over it. We know what we're doing, so it should be fine. So today, I think we're just going to finish off bolting on the wings. We've got some cool lights that we're going to see what they look like on the front of the cab, the registration plate, and one or two other things. So that's what we're doing today. Hopefully we're going to be keeping warm enough, because I'm not joking, it is absolutely ruddy freezing in here. Better get some tea on, I think. It's not really a natural thing for me to be taking apart and putting together a truck. I don't know if you've noticed, but 4 years is a long time. So you'd hope that maybe I'd learnt something along the way.
Here we find Lisa the Spanner working her magic, undoing bolts. Actually, she's doing them up.
What?
She's doing them up.
Is she?
Lefty loosey, righty tighty.
I just can't believe that when I said, what did I say? It's going to be a long year. Yeah. It certainly was a long year. So you might remember, probably about 5 minutes ago, that I mentioned that we were going to get a new registration plate. Well, we got a new registration plate. It's the old registration plate, cleaned up. So despite saying that we were going to get a new one, it turns out that actually we were just going to clean up this one. So Tim gave it a polish, gave it a paint, and well, it looks good as new, doesn't it? Like everything else around here. I don't know what we were thinking really, so I'm just going to put this on now and see what it actually looks like. It's exciting. I've been looking forward to all these little details for a number of numbers. We're official. All cleaned up and looking fabulous. Of course, there is the rear one as well. Let's see what Tim can do with that. It's Tim's glee box.
Alright, I guess this is one of the points where it's a little bit exciting when you're doing a project like this, kind of finding extra bits. I have a box here of old lights, and I didn't have a lot of hope for it. They were like not great lamps. Anyway, I've gone through it and we have found a couple of gems, I think. We've got some spot lamps, well, driving lights. There was a couple in there that we have missing bits and they don't work, but I come out, found some nice lamps. The truck originally, when it was a fire truck, before we got it, we got a couple of photographs and it had some lamps on it. I have filled the holes for a couple of them, but there is still space for at least a couple on the bumper, and we're going to see if these look any good in those positions. So I've got this one, an old Lucas lamp, which is the same, matching completely with the truck. It's kind of the right era and everything. So you got that. This one I think is a much older lamp, but it looks kind of pretty and it works. So we got that. And I did find another one which also works, although we don't have the wiring for it at the moment. Could well be like a reversing light or an extra light somewhere. This box also does contain a couple of other things which aren't going to come out yet, because there's a couple of really nice lamps in here which I've always been hoping to put on a roof rack, should we get round to building that.
Oh, it is getting exciting.
I won't get that out now, but it's a pretty cool lamp.
So how long have you actually had these in your belongings?
I don't know. I've been dragging them around for quite a while.
30 years?
I don't know. I don't know. Before I looked in the box, they were in quite a bad state. We know, like dirty, and like I didn't know if they worked. So I have spent a little bit of time cleaning these up, and yeah, they all work. And they would be a really good asset to the truck, because we can actually use these. If they're used as what they call driving lights, we can put these ones so that they come on with the main beam and give you better vision for driving, because these old lamps on these things are rubbish anyway, so any little helps. And when you've got a combat battle against all the modern bright white lights of cars these days, I'm sure that lots of people know
the feeling of seeing those things coming towards you with their ultra white.
Of course, we will be
lights.
about 10 feet above all those lights.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good thing.
He's literally had these in a box probably his entire adult life. These lights have waited for decades for their moment. This is their moment. What do you think?
Yeah, audience. Oh, let's get some more things to put
This
on
has
it.
started. We've been waiting years for all this stuff. You know, years. We've had this vision in our mind of it.
It's time to start accessorizing.
Accessorizing. Yeah.
This is what Lisa's decided to call this the sticking list. This is our list of bits and pieces, mostly of parts we need to acquire. So this isn't necessarily just work that needs to be done on the trucks. We've kind of pretty much done most of the work we need to do. But in order to finish it, we need certain parts, and they have been what's actually held me up for quite a bit of the time. A lot of this comes down to cost and money. If we had an unlimited supply, I could go straight out and order quite a few of these bits. But just so that I know what I've got left to do, we thought we'd I've been writing these down, and we're going to write a list out and share it with you so that we know the bits and pieces that we need. Some of them are real simple bits and some of them are a little bit more complicated. And once we have every item on this, the truck's finished and we're off. First thing on here is probably the biggest one. It's the brake master cylinder. This is one of those items that the master cylinder, which works the brakes, was a little bit beyond using, I think. And it's not an easily gainable part. It can be rebuilt, and I can do this, but it comes at a cost. So hence why it's on our sticking list. The second part is the brake wheel cylinders. The truck has 4 wheel cylinders. I've been keeping an eye open for about 3 years for these parts, and they do come available. And again, if we had a whole load of money, we could probably just go out and buy these parts. So they are out there. It's just a case of buying them at the right price. I have managed to get a little bit lucky on the front ones, and I'll talk about that maybe in the next video. But we are still looking for the rear wheel cylinders. What beautiful handwriting you have. We're going to put the front brake flexi hoses. Braking system with all the lines, the hard lines, has all been completely replaced. And with new wheel cylinders and master cylinder, which will be brand new, there is just one place where there are flexible lines, and that is between the chassis and the front axle. And those 2 pipes, again, are readily available, but just at a bit of a cost. The rear hub seals go in the brake drums and stop basically the oil from the rear axle leaking through the brake drums and coming out. I've had a bit of difficulty with these, and I have actually bought them on a couple of occasions just to be slightly the wrong size. I'm sure if I bought enough of them, I would find the ones that were the right size. The rear drive shaft washer. So where the rear main drive shaft bolts onto the transmission case, there is a very large washer in there. It was cracked when I took it apart. I did try and weld it back together again. It's a very, very thick washer. I don't know why it has to be quite so thick. If we can't find one of those down the nut and bolt shop, maybe we'll have to machine one, find someone with a lathe. The rear axle pinion seal. I'm not sure about this one again as well. There was a lot of oil around the rear axle, around the seal, but I couldn't undo the bolt until it was back on its wheels because it's impossible to undo the main bolt in the middle. I might have looked at seeing to replace that one because it's just a bit of an oil leak. Air tank drain plugs. The air tank has 2 plugs to unscrew to let any moisture that might be in them. One of those plugs was very good condition, the other one wasn't, Although I have found something that will seal it up for the time being, it would be just nice to have a proper drain plugs on them. Petrol drain plug. The petrol tank, when we took it apart, the drain plug that was in the bottom of it was very much seized in it. I did manage to get it out and it is still usable. It's just not in very good condition. I would like to replace it if I could. Again, a lot of these parts are just having the time to go out, find the threads for things and actually find the parts I need. Cab 2 chassis mount washers. The mounting points for the truck, when I put it back together, I decided I think it'd be better if there was a couple more washers that do look like they are in the diagrams but were missing. So they are just very large washers. Again, I'll find some of those. 1 wiper blade. We've got 1, we need 2. 1 more horn. We've got 1, but it'd be nice to have 2. Compressor filter. We don't need a filter necessarily, but it does make a funny noise and the old one was very, very bad condition. Steering arm nylock nut. Just a nut from the nut and bolt shop. Bolts for side steps. Very small bolts, but they were going into the aluminium side steps, so they've got a very coarse thread and I don't have any more imperial nuts and bolts, so we just need some specific bolts to be able to bolt on the side steps properly. Rear light mounting bracket. I managed to find 2 brand new old stock Bedford TK rear lights and thought they were cheap, they'd be great for this, but they need some way of bolting on to the truck, so I've got to make some brackets. Mount and wire the fuel pump. The electric fuel pump needs its own power supply and decide where to go, where it can go. Battery mount stroke box. In the future, building something with this truck, we'll have a proper place to put the battery. In the meantime, we don't actually have anywhere where the battery can mount onto the truck unless it's by ratchet straps and a piece of plywood. So it would be good just to make something up for the time being to mount the battery properly and securely. The rear number plate. We don't have a rear number plate, so I have to make one or go and buy one. Right, oils for gearbox, transfer box, front axle, hubs and rear axle. Again, a simple thing, it's just a case of working out exactly the viscosities of the types of oils and ordering them. It's not that difficult to get hold of. We are talking about some older oils on the sense of this older truck, but again, this is just a cost thing and just paying out the money for them. Something I spoke about ages ago when I was doing all the brake lines is that we had a few very small brake lines which were more part of the control system to it. This is just a matter of finding out the threads of them and buying some hose. It's probably plastic piping that we need, but just something that I haven't had time to go out and source what I need. Then a heater control valve. The heater's ready to go back in, but the valve that turns the water hot and cold looks like it might have had a leak. So I took it apart and it was indeed pretty broken. And the last item I have is the interior and what we do with retrimming and upholstering. It looks like quite a lot of stuff, but I'm sure it's just a couple of hours work. Hello Nick! Our prisoner. We've still got Nick down there.
We've got our slave just at the other. Say hello, Nick!
Hello! Well, that's the end of another video. We've got a lot of stuff done. We have finally got these wings on, as you've just seen, and the bumper. That's kind of the biggest parts, and they do change the look once more of the truck.
And the lights.
Yeah, the little lights and the number plate have made a little bit of difference, and it's nice to sort of customise a little bit. I don't think much more is going to change in the look of it, really, because mostly the things are there. Obviously, apart from one windscreen, which will be in the next video, absolutely. And I think we're going to work on getting the wiring all connected up and all the electrics done on it. and
Maybe get all these
Yeah.
lights on.
and then of course it will be back down to the massive list of bits and pieces.
Yes, hopefully you're a bit more up to speed with where we're at with it, and probably can see that we've just got lots of fiddly bits really to sort out before we can drive this thing out of here. But soon, yeah.
But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I hope that was okay. Special thanks to everyone.
Yeah, big thanks to everyone for watching. Big thanks to our patrons as always, and a really special thanks to our latest patrons, which is William and Davina.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys, for supporting us. It's so nice.
Yeah, so join us next time when we'll hopefully get in the very last bits, apart from the list, done on this truck. So
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
That's hopefully why Nick's turned up today. So get this windscreen sorted,
Yeah.
maybe.
So till then, see you later.
Take care. Bye.